Back in the book segment tonight, another embarrassing moment for Susan Rice, one of President Obama's top national security people. You remember it was Miss Rice who told the world the Benghazi assassination of American Ambassador Christopher Stevens in Libya was caused by a videotape. That was false. Now she's saying that the Turkish government has committed to help fight ISIS.
The Turks have, just in the last several days, made a commitment that they will, in the first instance, allow the United States and our partners to use Turkish bases and territory. That's a new commitment and one that we very much welcome.
One problem, that's not true. The Turks say no deal has been made.
This is really unbelievable that she could say that, and then Turkey denies it. I don't know how they're going to explain it. Obama is simply not serious about this war. Why would you join a war where the leader of the coalition is not serious?
All right. Joining us now from Washington, Charles Krauthammer. So it really is unbelievable, that's the word you use, that Ambassador Rice would once again go out on national television and say something that's not true. It can't be that they have a little meeting and say, what lie are we going to tell today? They can't be doing that. So what do you think it is?
Look, I have a little advice for Ambassador Rice. She could be the best advisor Obama's ever had. She could be an international strategist of Kissingerian proportions, but she shouldn't go on television. It just doesn't work. It is totally inexplicable that the National Security Advisor, whose job it is to be the conduit of all information coming from the various foreign policy agencies, the one to coordinate and consolidate all that, should go out on television, announce to the world this very crucial agreement, and then within hours have the Turks say it's not true. It's not just that it's not true, it's also that now we have a dispute with the Turks over what she said, rather than negotiating the details of some cooperation between us. That it should have happened at this level is truly inexplicable. I think you're right. It couldn't be a deliberate lie because there's no advantage in it.
Right.
It's not going to help negotiations. It's not going to bully the Turks into saying yes. It obviously is a mistake, but it is a monumental one. And that it should happen in the middle of a war at this high a level is truly remarkable.
You know what I think it is? It all goes back to what we've discussed in the past. There is a lack of leadership. There is not anyone in charge. I don't believe President Obama is in charge of the ISIS conflict. I believe he farms it out to other people. He obviously doesn't have the stomach for it. All right, so that there's like 5, 6 people running around. Oh, look at this! Look what we got! Look what happened today! We blew up a truck. You know, there's no central force. There's no organizational capacity to get any message out, almost about anything. You can just go down the list of major issues. Look at Ebola. Look at this guy coming out, and one day he says one thing, the next day he says the other thing. We still don't know how he got it in Omaha. It's just, there isn't any leadership. That's what it is.
Well, regarding Iraq, this is not new. On the most crucial decision Obama made on Iraq, the full withdrawal at the end of 2011, on the eve of his re-election, that he was relatively uninvolved. Bush, for all of his faults, was very deeply involved, particularly at the time of the surge, in making the decision and going ahead with it. When it came to withdraw from Iraq, Obama, as you said, he farmed it out. Right. This was a decision that had to be done at a presidential level. It had to have been a head of state in Iraq, or negotiating with the head of state here. That's not how it was done, and in the end it fell apart.
Right. You know, look, I'm president, and I say to the Iraqi president who's given us a hard time, Maliki, about keeping troops in. So you know what, President Maliki, Prime Minister Maliki, with all due respect, we're going to keep 10,000 troops there, and if you prosecute one of them, all right, we will have a problem that you will not survive. I would threaten men directly and tell him, you don't touch one of our guys. We're keeping 10,000 there. You don't touch him. That's it. That's how you lead.
Bill, that's okay, but it was unnecessary. Every major faction in Iraq wanted the U.S. to stay.
Except Maliki.
No, Maliki
Yeah, I
did.
did.
He absolutely did. We insisted
I
that he
disagree.
had to go to Parliament, and he said, leave the procedures to us. I'm not going to go
The
to Parliament.
Iranians didn't want
And
us there, and
second,
Maliki was listening
no,
to
that's
them.
not. Maliki knew that in the end he would depend on the U.S. He knew what was coming. When Obama came back, the number that the military had advised was about 20,000. Obama proposed 3,000. That was a joke. That is less than anything required even to protect themselves.
That's right.
If
It puts them in harm's way.
If the Americans were not
Okay.
going to be serious, he was not going to risk the
There's
domestic
no doubt that the
backlash.
president could have gotten it done if he wanted to. Now, all Americans, I think, understand the lack of leadership coming out of the White House, and that's why the president's poll numbers are below 40% in job approval. However, in the African-American community, according to Gallup, they are at 81%. 81% of American blacks support and approve the president's job performance. My question is a simple one, because as you know, I'm a simple man. Is that totally based on race?
It's probably a couple of things. One is, obviously, they perceive the president, they perceive the presidency differently from the way you do. But second, I don't, it sounds pejorative to say only race. It is ethnic solidarity. Roman Catholics supported John Kennedy. Mormons were heavily supporting Mitt Romney. If we had a gay president, if we had a Jewish president, if we had a Hispanic candidate running for office, you would find a high level of association. And among African Americans, it's all the more understandable. Here's a community who for hundreds of years were oppressed. In your lifetime and mine, they were legally discriminated against by the state, and then they were essentially emancipated a second time in the 60s. But in our lifetime, we have African Americans whose parents were segregated and really treated badly. They now point to their children and say, look at what we have achieved, look at the man in the White House, as a form of aspiration and a form of pride. That is what any minority would do, and I'm not at all surprised by the high level of support. I'm surprised that you're surprised.
I'm not surprised. I just want to know the reason, and I think you articulated it very well.
And I tried to make it as simple as I could.
Because I am a simple man.
Precisely.
Crowd out for everybody. Back to